everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I promise not to be too long, so I know they're serving lunch shortly. So my role today is to explain, regardless of where you go for your surrogacy arrangements, Europe or further seas, UK law will still prevail if you intend to come back to the UK. Now, my firm's been doing surrogacy for a very long time, a few grey hairs later. My team are outside and they would love to meet you if you have any questions. We also have an immigration consultant out there as well. So feel free after the show to come and find us to ask whatever you would like. What do we do to assist you? Well, at very early stages, we can give you initial advice as to what you need to be thinking about, what information you need to find out, retain, collate. We can do this before you embark on the journey or during. Doesn't matter what jurisdiction you use, we have an overview of most, but we work in a really good ecosystem with many partners out there, and we can help make sure there's synergy between what they do versus what we need to do here. Many of you have probably already done your homework and you know the difference between altruistic and commercial. You might not know this, but in the UK we do not offer commercial arrangements. So if you've paid additional monies over reasonable expenses, that doesn't actually mirror with UK law. However, providing we talk with your partner, we can retrospectively address that. So again, the reason I'm saying this now is that the more information you get from us, the more we understand your journey, early on we can prepare for that. Now, when you come back from the UK, we need to look at whether you need immigration advice, but more importantly, we would get you the parental order and we'd look at the passport. So our role would be essentially to guide you through parental order and birth certificate. However, we can also help you with future planning. So whether that's your will, whether that's helping you with insurance, whether that's helping you with guardianships and power of attorneys, maybe even employment. And if something does go wrong, just to reassure you that you can roll me out as a litigator and I will sort things out. And every time we've had even a little bump in the road, we have smoothed it over and it does get resolved for a successful journey. So what is a parental order? Well, unfortunately, despite getting an American birth certificate, for example, or a Canadian passport to come into the UK law still doesn't recognise that. Until you apply for a parental order, sadly, the birth surrogate mother is the mother by law. If she's married, her spouse will be the father. That birth certificate in Canada or America or wherever you've had your arrangements, unfortunately, still holds weight in the UK. So to actually extinguish those rights and make you the intended parent, the legal guardian with full parental rights, you need to apply for a parental order. It's not complicated, providing you follow all the rules, you're eligible, and you listen to the advice that's given, and we take you through that smooth journey. This will enable you to enrol your child into education, make medical decisions. Otherwise, potentially, there are parentage issues. It has to be a form signed by the surrogate and her spouse or partner 6 weeks after birth, but within 6 months. So there is a timeline there that you have to adhere to. This is for everybody in the UK. We're happy with single, married, LGBT, enduring relationships. The only requirement is you're over 18, that you're UK-based and resident. So you'd also have to look at your domicile status immigration-wise. And one of the most fundamental parts of the UK law, which is frustrating for many, is the genetic link. The child has to be genetically linked to one person coming back into the UK as the intended parent. And as I said, UK laws will prevail. So whether you have a birth certificate or passport elsewhere, you do need to apply here to give you full rights here, but that will give you a birth certificate with the intended parents' names, and it'll give you a British passport. The genetic link is important, so sperm donor is fine, egg donor is fine. Unfortunately, there's no genetic link. Essentially, that's adoption and potentially unlawful in the UK, depending on how you're moving forward. This is a synopsis of whether it applies to you. So Georgia, for example, if you're a married couple, you've got medical issues, you can go to Georgia, but unfortunately, if you're single, you cannot. There's many things that have rules and regulations, but this is just a snapshot of whether it applies to you or not. And again, I'm sure you've done your research about the two. So you can pay reasonable expenses. If you go to America, there is a commercial element, and I know the benefit means there's potentially, more surrogate screening and history is established. sort of situation for you. If you're going to do that, be meticulous with a spreadsheet of your receipts, the expenses, everything that you're doing, be meticulous. The first hearing at court for a parental order will ask you to present this and provide a witness statement. Usually, if you've been meticulous, a parental order will be granted at the first hearing. If you have a commercial element, we retrospectively ask the court to accept that, even though it's against the UK system. And so far that has not been denied because they're looking at the welfare of the child. However, the more detailed, the more descriptive you are, the better. And if you have to have a second hearing because of the expenses, that's not to be of concern, just means the court wants to make sure that the arrangement was satisfactory and that they've understood everything. So it just means potentially an extra hearing, but again, so far nothing has been denied. So your agent, your lawyer, everybody will talk you through this, and you'll be very careful about how that you collate everything. But obviously in Canada, it's altruistic, same as in the UK. It's places like America where you will just need to calculate the receipts and the spreadsheet of expenses in more detail. Witness statements are important. So a lot of people will do these themselves, and we can be in the background to help you, or we can draft these for you. If there are immigration concerns, or if you have had a commercial element, or if there's been some sort of changes throughout the journey, this is when we deal with it, is the witness statement. So the more meticulous, the more detailed, and the more concise, the better. And this is where we would jump in very early on to start this process, because when you come back to the UK with a screaming, hungry, beautiful little baby, the last thing you want to be doing is legal documents. So the idea is for us to prepare this with you. As I said, you have to be over 18. There has to be a genetic link to the child. You have to be domiciled here. You have to get the consent of the surrogate by way of a signed form, 6 weeks post-birth, and if she's married, her spouse must sign this too. Detailed expenses with receipts and a spreadsheet, and all of these will be carefully documented. It can be a very simple process from signing the form, first court hearing, CAFCAS visitor. A lot of people get concerned about that. It sounds like social services. No, all they're checking is the arrangement was clear, that there's a safe and wonderful environment for the child, and it's very supportive, it's very simple, and it's a matter of just filing that at court. And as I said, a second hearing is unlikely to be required unless there's some gaps in the information or perhaps something has changed during the journey. Once you've got your parental order, you have full guardianship. You have a new birth certificate with your name on. You can apply for a passport. You can do absolutely everything here in the UK with full parental rights. So it's a smooth process, but if it goes wrong, please don't worry, we have your back. We've had IPs separate during the parental order before single surrogacy was allowed. They're actually going to be speaking later on at the panel about how we actually went to the court and changed case law to enable the parties still to obtain a parental order. We had a lady who had medical expense issues with the child. The child was stuck in the Ukraine for 6 months. We managed to get an emergency visa to get her over here in the UK. We then went for an adoption order because surrogacy no longer applied. We've had surrogates refuse to sign the parental order, and again, we've been able to resolve that. So even in the worst case scenarios, we've had people's back, we've sorted it out. And so far, our success rate is 100% of an intended parent coming through our system, whether it's been a smooth journey or a bumpy one. So the most important thing is make sure you know who's on your team, a good reputable clinic, a good agency, a good local lawyer in the jurisdiction, and a UK lawyer. We all talk to make sure that your journey's smooth. We should be synergising everything so that when you come back to the UK, it works. It is a really, really big thing to speak to other parents that have been through the journey. We can all sell at you here. We can all give you information here, but there is nothing better than hearing from a person that's been through this. They will tell you everything, who they've used, who they like, who they don't, what are the pitfalls, what are the benefits. You're doing exactly the right thing, like coming here. But make sure you get on the forums because it becomes a family as well. Ongoing relationship with the surrogates, ongoing relationships with people on the forum, people here. It really is going to be a great support network, so don't be afraid to sort of go on all these forums, post, speak to people. Other considerations which are outside of the law you may want to think about is medical insurance. So again, in America, as you probably all know, everything is about medical insurance, and there's people here today to discuss that with you. Canada at one point was actually paying for the medical expenses, but that now is changing, and Canada, their hospitals are now charging intended parents. So you're going to need to factor that into your budget, maybe consider insurances. It's also very confusing for us as lawyers, let alone for you as intended parents, going from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. They all have their own rules. So in America, one state will say that the surrogate's insurance policy will cover the baby. In another American state, it will actually be you as the intended parents who will have to pay for it. So do not believe there is one thing for one or every jurisdiction's different. Now, we all hope it's a smooth journey, the baby's discharged, the surrogate's discharged, but if there is a medical condition, insurance is absolutely essential because it can rack up thousands of pounds in medical fees otherwise. So please take that advice very early on. Now, obviously, we've got to admit that vaccine has helped, but the pandemic is still there. So you need to have a look at what borders may or may not close. Canada has never closed its borders, for example. Speak to your surrogate. Have they had the vaccine? Will they have the vaccine? Because again, some clinics, particularly in America, will not take a surrogate on unless they have been vaccinated. I also understand some surrogates don't want to be vaccinated. Some intended parents don't want people vaccinated. This is a dialogue have very early on, and understand whether your clinics and agencies will actually move forward with or without vaccines. Insurance is over there for medical is one thing, but what about your travel insurance and your life insurance? God forbid anything happens to one of you on your journey to collect your child, make sure there's life insurance covered there. When you come back to the UK, do you need to put the baby on your travel insurance? Yes. So again, speak to someone early on. Your wills, we can actually, today we've agreed that we would do a discount for anyone who's doing wills. We will do a mirror will for partners or a single will, and free of charge, as soon as your baby's born, we will amend that will to cover your child. So you are protected now, and as soon as you have a baby, we'll include that in the will to protect you. Again, just so that everything is included. Employment, look at your paternity and maternal rights because there is parental leave, there's special parental leave, there's adoption leave, which is still what it's called by many employers. So do make sure you understand you do still have contractual and statutory rights to go and see your child, to go to the birth, to bring the child home. And again, make sure you've dealt with the financial budgeting and you've looked at everything like that. And you probably have seen there's an exchange company out there now that we work with who will actually save you thousands by fixing the rate of sending dollars or Canadian money at the right time. And I think actually she was saying in one of the talks, £3,000 worth of saving can be made if you're sending money from the UK to America in dollars. So again, think about all these things, and by coming to these talks, by meeting people like this, we hope to give you a holistic overview, not just the law, but actually bringing you into the support mechanism so you understand everything that's available. And all of these things we can discuss with you. I've left my details on there, and there's the firm details on there. If any of you have missed the talk, I'm happy for you to email me. I'll send you the slides. For those that have come in, what I wanted to just leave up, if I can, is potentially this one. So this is just a thought for most of you because you are here today to talk about all the different jurisdictions. We can support any jurisdictions provided it's a lawful surrogacy, but as you come into the UK, we just want you to understand that that's birth certificate and passport does not count in the UK. We need to get you a parental order and a British passport to actually give you full rights. If you have any questions, I'm very happy to take them. I've also got 2 surrogacy lawyers out there if you want to go and talk to them. Is there anything anyone would like to ask at the moment?
People engage with a UK law firm. What stage is their process?
So we would like to meet people very early on so we can prepare them and guide them and talk to them straight away. But obviously, as soon as you found a surrogate or you're pregnant, you can come and talk to us. The most important thing, I think, and it's more practical than legal, is that you get as much done as possible before the birth of your child, because running around when you've got a newborn baby, the last person you want to be talking to is a lawyer. One of the questions that I was asked outside about is fees. Have no issue talking about fees. We offer 3 packages, the whole thing from start to finish. You could just pay for hours as and when you need us, or we can give you fixed fees just for the hearing and the witness statements. The most important thing is you're comfortable. If you're happy to do a lot of the legwork, We have no issue with that. We're behind the scenes, we'll help you. If you want everything done by us, we will do everything for you. Please don't be afraid. Everything's fixed fees, and you should just ask us. We will tell you. There's no hidden charges. There's no selling at you. Just feel comfortable to ask us at any point. And as I said, we are happy to offer £100 off wills today, and when you have your birth of your beautiful baby, we will change the wills for you. And the reason I'm pushing that is so many people don't have wills in place when they do this. I just want to give people that security when you're going through this journey.